In this video, I will demonstrate how to boot the latest version of Fedora with Windows 11. This guide provides one of the safest and easiest methods to set up a dual boot on any PC or laptop without risking any data loss. Additionally, I will explain the process of safely removing Fedora from the dual boot configuration if you no longer need it. It is important not to skip any steps and watch the video until the end to avoid any confusion. Now for this demonstration, I will be using my HP Pavilion gaming laptop, but the process is similar for any PC or laptop. Now as you can see, my PC is running the latest version of Windows 11 Home and is booted in UEFI mode. The only requirements of this video, you need Windows 11 or Windows 10 running on your PC or laptop. Next, you need an 8 gigs or higher USB drive to create a bootable disk with Fedora. And lastly, you need to reserve a free space of 40 GB or higher from your existing drive. That being said, it's time to create a free space for Fedora. Open the search bar and type Disk Manager and select this option to open Disk Manager. The Disk Manager shows all of the connected drives along with their partitions. Now as you can see, in my case, one drive is connected. If you notice, drive 0 has 3 partitions. The first one is the EFI partition, where the Windows bootloader is present. The second one is the main Windows, and the last one is the recovery partition. I'm going to choose the C drive to shrink the free space for Fedora. In your case, it might be D, E, or F, whatever. Just choose the partition and right-click on it. Now choose Shrink Volume and allocate a minimum of 40 GB or higher for the Fedora. You can type the value in megabytes. In my case, I'm going to allocate 200,000 megabytes, that is equal to 200 GB, and click on Shrink. This will create an unallocated free space. That's it, we have done creating a free space for Fedora. Now open your favorite browser and go to the official website of Fedora. By the time of recording this video, Fedora 38 is available to download. Choose Intel or AMD version and download the ISO. In your case, you may see a different version and the process will be similar. Next up, head over to this website and download the Balena Etcher. Once it's downloaded, go ahead and install it. You can also use Ventai if you are familiar with that tool. Now go ahead and connect the USB drive to your PC or laptop. Once it's connected, open Balena Etcher. Then choose Flash from the file and import the ISO. Now select the USB drive and click on Flash. Sit back and relax. The flashing process will take a few minutes depending on the writing speed of your USB drive. Now go ahead and reboot your computer. While it's rebooting, you need to enter into BIOS settings. Use the keyboard shortcut based on your motherboard. Mostly could be F2, F9, or Escape key. The first thing to do after entering into BIOS is to enable USB boot. Then change the boot order by setting the USB drive as primary. You can install Fedora with Secure Boot Enable, but in my case, I'm going to turn it off and I don't need it. Also, if you're booting Fedora from Ventai drive, turning off Secure Boot is mandatory. Otherwise, the Fedora installer won't boot. If you have any options like Microsoft third-party UEFI, just go ahead and enable it. It's also better to clear any keys or certificates after disabling the Secure Boot. This way, it won't cause any installation problems with Fedora. Once it's done, save the changes. Now your system will boot into Fedora from the USB drive. If in case it fails to boot, use the boot menu to load the Fedora install media. Now at this point, I want to tell you one thing. If your PC or laptop is having both iGPU and NVIDIA graphic cards, you may notice issues with the installer. It won't boot into the live setup of Fedora. So it's better to disable the graphic card by adding a kernel argument. To do so, select this option and press the letter E on the keyboard. Then look for the line called Linux. Go to the end of this line and add this argument. Once it's done, press F10 or Ctrl+X to boot into Fedora Live Setup without loading graphic drivers. Now when you're inside the live setup of Fedora, go ahead and connect to the internet. Now once it's done, click on Install Fedora and set the system language. Then choose Installation Destination and select the drive to install Fedora alongside Windows 11. Now in this case, this is the main drive. Once the drive is selected, you can use the automatic option to create a partition for Fedora using the free space that we allocated in Windows 11. Now this option is extremely useful for beginners. But for now, I'm gonna use an expert mode and show you creating partitions manually for Fedora. To do so, click on Custom and select Done from the top left. Again, you can click here to create the partitions automatically. And if you notice at the bottom left, you can see the free space that we allocated in Windows 11. If you don't see this, make sure on Windows 11 you have turned off BitLocker encryption. It's time to create 3 partitions. Now let's start with the first one. Simply click on the plus button. The first partition we are going to create is boot EFI. This is where the Fedora bootloader is going to be stored. So choose the mount point as boot EFI and the size should be more than 100 megabytes. In my case, I'm giving 1 GB. Now gigabyte represents in GIB. Make sure you type that word followed by the value. Then click on plus again to create a root partition. Choose the mount point as / that represents the root partition. And the size should be more than 15 GB. In my case, I have 195 GB of free space left. I'm going to use 180 GB of free space for root partition. Now we are left with 14 GB of free space. I'm going to use it to create a swap partition. Again, click on the plus button one last time, then choose mount point as swap and use the free space that is left over. That's it, we have done creating manual partitions for Fedora workstation. You can see them over here. Now click on Done, accept the changes made to the disk. Now choose the time and date and select your time zone. That's it, click on Begin Installation, sit back and relax. The installation will take some time depending on the speed of the drive. Once it's done, go ahead and restart your computer by removing the bootable media. Now go ahead and choose Fedora and press Enter key to boot into newly installed OS. Congratulations, you have successfully set up a dual boot with Fedora and Windows 11. There are a few more things we need to do. The first thing, if you notice, the UI is not looking so great. It's not using the full screen resolution. Now this is due to the lack of graphic drivers. We're going to install NVIDIA graphic drivers to fix such issues. Now first off, open the terminal and add this line to the DNF configuration file. Once it's done, type this command to update the system. Then restart the PC or laptop. Open the software store and click on search and type NVIDIA. Look for a compatible driver and install it. Once it's installed, restart to effect these changes. Now you can see Fedora looks next level with working graphic drivers. Also, don't forget to read my blog post where I have shown 10 things to be done after installing Fedora. Check the link in the description down below. Now, when you restart your PC, the system will automatically boot into Fedora. We're going to change that and make Windows 11 as default OS. To do so, open the terminal and type this command to install the grub customizer. Now open the grub customizer and select General Settings. Under the default entry, choose Predefined and select Windows 11. You can also increase the time limit of grub menu by 20 seconds. Now once it's done, save the changes and restart your computer. Now you can see Windows 11 will boot automatically. You can use the arrow key to highlight the option and boot into Fedora or Windows 11 using the grub menu. As a bonus part of this video, if in case you don't like Fedora and decided to uninstall, then reboot your computer and boot into Windows 11. Once you are inside Windows 11, open the search bar and type Disk Manager. Choose this option to open. Here in my case, next to the C drive, 3 new partitions are showing. We need to delete each partition one after the other. Now as you can see, I have done deleting swap and root partition, but I cannot able to delete the boot UEFI partition. For that, we're going to take a command prompt help to remove this partition. To do so, go ahead, open a command prompt and run as administrator. Inside the command prompt, type disk part, then type list disk. Now this will show all the drives connected to my PC. Now as you can see, drive 0 is the only drive connected to my computer where Windows are present. I'm going to go ahead and select this drive by typing select disk 0. Now I'm going to type the list partition to view all partitions of this drive. If you notice carefully, partition 5 is the Fedora boot UEFI partition, which we failed to delete from the disk manager, which is this one. Now as you can see, it's around 1000 megabytes. We're going to go ahead and delete this partition. To do so, type this command to select this partition. Make sure you have selected the proper partition. Then type delete space partition space override. Now as you can see under the disk manager, it's now deleted and we gain back free space. You can use this free space and merge it back to the Windows 11. That's it, we have successfully removed Fedora. Now restart your computer, it should boot your system into Windows 11 directly and you won't face any issues. This is how you properly set up a dual boot on your Windows 11 computer with Fedora operating system. Let me know what do you think in the comment section down below. If in case you like this video, hit the thumbs up down there. Thanks for watching. This is been KSK Ryo. I'll catch you in my next video.